And welcome to the 33rd installment of the Jonesin on a Whim podcast. Down to one game. One more in the Big Easy. My Ravens are there.
You
doubters.
Your Ravens. Hey, we were all doubting.
No,
about game 12.
well, I finished the first playoff podcast with, we will see. No, you said we'll see.
I finished with the
We'll see. It's not, I guess they went 1-3 the last four. But that,
something like they had a 1-3 stretch in there. Yeah.
But that one was a definitive win over a Giants team who just definitively beat the Saints. So I took enough from that.
Another non-playoff team.
Correct. Thanks.
Sorry.
Really?
I'm just.
Well,
Baltimore's giving us good reason to come back around on them, though. So
yes.
I will grant you that.
So if we're ready, we'll just get right into it.
Yep.
The Ravens Niners line is 3.5. We will make our picks regarding the spread and overall later. But we can start with the matchups with these two offenses and these two defenses going against each other. For the regular season, Baltimore's offense averaged 353 yards a game. Their defense gave up 351. In the playoffs, they're about 90 better on offense, 425 a game, and about 65 worse, 415 a game. But one of those
On D.
is a full overtime.
Right.
Yeah. So giving up. And the 49ers are much better offensively in the playoffs from the regular season. 476 in their two games. Regular season, 362 was their average. And so 114 more on their offensive side. And then defensively, they're giving up considerably more than actually even the Ravens are without an overtime game. And it's just only two games. But you could attribute that to maybe playing the Falcons and the Packers.
There's been a lot of offense this playoffs.
So they're up to 415 a game, up from 294 a game, which is pretty ridiculous in its own right anyway. I don't even know how a team could do that. But
Smack.
we'll start with Baltimore's offense versus San Francisco's defense.
If Brad says anything, you can smack him too.
Yes.
All right.
But this let's do this right. The Baltimore offense. Well, I want to start with San Francisco's defense, who have, as a team, just 2 sacks in the playoffs, and for the regular season, I think were one of the league's amongst the league leaders, especially the two Smiths. Well, Justin Smith doesn't have as many sacks. He just creates the trouble, the problems on one end.
When he's out,
to let Aldon Smith. Aldon Smith had
19.5
in the regular season, 0 since Justin Smith suffered that bicep or whatever.
Hurt himself against the Patriots, right? Yeah.
Injury on his arm. So that's been a big issue because they're now giving up 322 yards passing a game, and during the regular season it was about 200 yards a game. So that's significant, and they're now susceptible to the big play, which has become Baltimore's specialty. So I'll just go in and give my analysis since no one else.
Why don't you?
Yes.
At least I'm speaking.
Right. I look for Baltimore to stretch the edges with Jones and Smith as they've done for most of these playoffs, and then work the middle with Pitt and Bolden. Bolden actually leads the playoffs in receiving yards. He's got an extra game on some of these guys, but he's got 276 yards, and his targets he's doing well with his targets. I think he's at least 80% of his targets he's caught the football, and a couple of those were questionable reviews that I thought were catches. But Harry Douglas caught a ball in the NFC Championship that I still don't understand how that was a catch.
It wasn't. That's half.
But using Pitt and Bolden in the middle will not only be effective, but also doing that will make it effective for this running game with Rice and Bernard Pierce, who's become a household name in this last month. He's got 169 yards in these playoffs on just 27 carries, with over 6 yards per carry. So I don't, as no one's done yet to this point, I don't see San Francisco stopping this Baltimore offense. Now, will that result in a win? I'm not sure. We'll get to that on the other side with the other matchup with San Francisco's offense and Baltimore's defense.
Yeah, I just don't see that secondary for San Francisco being able to deal with what Baltimore does.
It's a very overrated secondary because with no pass rush, this is what they are, 322 a game.
And really, you take that pass rush issue from most teams in that secondary.
No doubt.
You got to have elite talent to get away with not having a hellified pass rush because that's pretty much, those go hand in hand. And you got guys making mistakes, and that's just the wrong thing to be doing when you're playing against Baltimore because they're dying to take shots. They have shots built into all of their pass plays, and you know Flacco's playing for the money too, and you know he doesn't give a damn. He's going to sling it.
No interceptions.
Yeah, he's slinging. He had sat around 2 weeks waiting and being talked about, elite, not elite, money on the line. When Sunday gets here, we're ready to see the game. He's ready to play in the game, and I'm confident in that. So I just don't see how San Francisco contains them for a whole game.
And 114.7 quarterback rating with only a 55% completion percentage, which they've talked about the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He takes so many shots downfield, the percentage is going to be lower.
Your yards per attempt factors into the game pretty heavily.
Right. And his incompletions. I mean, he throws it where Torrey or Jacoby can get it, or no one can.
I thought the Golden Boy lost last week.
The Golden Boy last week.
Flacco's not Tom Brady. He's not the best quarterback in the league. He's had a few big plays. I don't understand why you're all of a sudden anointing him as just going to pick apart this 49er defense. That's insane.
Because everybody else has this whole postseason.
See, and I don't even think it's a pick apart. It's just make them pay for the mistakes. And if they're gonna make mistakes,
Matt Ryan picked him apart. I don't really regard him as highly as
Flacco.
As many people do.
The direction the Baltimore offense has been going lately, Flacco included. I mean, he outplayed Brady last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess now.
Manning.
He outplayed Manning the week before that. So he's been.
And in the playoffs, he's outplayed Brady 3-4 times in a row now.
Now part of that's Baltimore defense,
He
shutting down
outplayed
Brady.
2 conservative offensive game plans because they were waiting for Flacco to make a mistake.
Well, I think it was the reverse. Actually, Baltimore was more conservative this past weekend because they got an early lead and because they could turn conservative and play field position and keep Brady off the field.
Yeah, I don't think New England was playing that conservative.
Not at all. They just had untimely turnovers and Welker drops.
Which stinks.
Yeah.
Well,
you got me back.
What's the time on that? What's the time on Welker drop? 15 minutes?
No, not even.
Yeah, there were a few plays where I was like, really?
Right.
Damn it.
Exactly.
Welker.
I'm going to hear that. I'm going to hear about that one.
Exactly. But and the San Francisco defense, maybe... the lack of sacks lately is a bit of a concern, but they're Harbaugh, whichever one you want.
Right.
The San Francisco one, whichever one that is. Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're talking about how to get that going again because the linebackers are going to be busy. That's really good linebacker.
Well, and I don't think Flacco's. I don't know that he's been sacked. If he has once or twice this postseason,
it's once or twice
in 3 games against.
Yeah.
Well, New England doesn't have a pass rush, but Denver had one. Baltimore's got Freeney and the other guy on the other end. I mean,
they're giving him time to throw, and he looks comfortable.
Right.
But if San Francisco can figure out the formula to get some pressure on him, that could flip around pretty quickly.
Certainly. Well, it'll keep Pitta on the line to block, or Ray Rice in the backfield to block. Mm-hmm. And those are things you have to do because he does go through his progressions, because he looks downfield. And that's what we alluded to 2 weeks ago, is if he does have the time, these long plays that they love to run have time to play out and to materialize.
Even Troy Smith needs a few seconds to get 40 yards.
Right. Well, because these DBs get 5 yards. And this is a very physical San Francisco secondary. Mm-hmm. And then they will use all bit of that. But with Torrey and with Jacoby, you have to kind of restrain a little bit, because if they win that battle and you're off balance, you're already 5 steps slower than them. Then it's over. Mm-hmm. And then the safeties come over, then Pitta's open over the middle, and And Pitter's not a typical tight end in this offense. He averages 13.7 yards a completion. It's not like Gonzalez where it's within 10 yards. These are long completions as an average. So his average is almost 14 yards.
Yeah.
And that's got to be one of the tops in the league.
The other thing about the San Francisco defensive performance lately, falling off, part of that could be, when your offense is off the hook, the game kind of opens up.
Right.
You take a 3-touchdown lead, it's like, okay, this is not as big of a deal. So the yardage total starts to look worse.
But that was never really the case. It was 0-0, and then Atlanta went up 3 touchdowns or 17-0. And even in Green Bay, that was a 24-24 game well into the third.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that's even an excuse. It's an argument, but I'm not even sure if that's even valid.
Those were the two of the best passing offenses in the league.
I agree.
Far over Baltimore's, and the throw up to Bolden and let him come down and everything's not going to work. That luck streak is going to end.
It's not luck. They're just
feast on these Baltimore slow receivers.
Probably this was a 9-2 football team, 9-1 football team that suffered a lot of injuries on defense and then started losing shootouts, and then they fired their offensive coordinator. This is a different team from the half of November and the month of December.
It's the same players.
No, healthy on the field.
And the offensive line is totally shook.
They made a move on the offensive line, and it's a guy who was an elite offensive lineman who has sleeped the last 5 years is now great again.
So now they have game film on the new offense in 2 weeks to prepare for it.
Well, what new offense? This is the same offense.
No, I said the same players. You said it was a different offense. New coordinator.
Well, new coordinator, but he's doing what we all screamed the whole year. Hand the ball to Ray Rice. And even when it doesn't work, it keeps the defense responsible for getting to that, and these downfield plays are opening up. They didn't even complete a long pass against New England downfield. They didn't even need that game. They adjusted. They were more conservative. They ran Ray Rice 9 times, Pierce 9.
Thanks.
19 to 9. And the running game wasn't working with Ray Rice. They put Pierce in, and he was the star of the game. Him and Pitta over the middle, Bolden over the middle. Bolden, it's not luck. Bolden's done it for 12 years. This is not luck. This guy's a pro. How is it luck when he's been a consummate pro for his whole career?
Yeah,
You're saying Bolden's production is luck? Look at Flacco's production in the playoffs. He's a much better quarterback in January. Unlike Matt Ryan, he flips a switch in January. He really does.
Bolden was not signed for a reason. Bolden's first year in Baltimore was not all that good. He's making big plays. Flacco's throwing the ball. He's coming down. He's manhandling.
His first year in Baltimore, Flacco was a rookie. They went with their defense. They rolled with that defense, which was elite at that time, and their running back who was 4 years younger.
And then something else to speak on too. Bolden has had a lot of injury issues, and it may be a case that he's finally healthy.
No, they all are. They got healthy at the right time, and that's what we said going into these playoffs. This is not a fluke at all. I mean, this team is legit. They were a favorite going into the season. They got a lot of injuries. They got everybody back at the end of the season, and they're such a team. And here they are. I don't know. I don't.
Well, how many of those prolific yards are the 70-yard bomb at the end of the game when you simply let somebody get behind you against Denver? Remember,
he threw for 500 yards that game. So take those 70 off.
Well, that was a big play.
It was.
I mean, that was
no, and that's what they do,
and one that Denver shouldn't have allowed in that situation.
Right.
I mean, regardless of how fast Torrey Smith is, or
But we're not talking about how they got here. They're here.
Right.
And we're matching them up against the San Francisco defense that, quite frankly, the last month has sucked. New England did the same thing to them in a half. This defense in the second half of the season has not been very good, especially in the secondary, and mainly because Justin Smith is not right, and Aldon Smith becomes worthless. He might trump Troy Polamalu for the most overrated player in this league if he doesn't make a name for himself in this game. He has absolutely done nothing in a month since Justin Smith has been hurt, and not taking the double teams away from him. Not to mention the guy's worthless in the run game. He does nothing in the run game.
Well, Aldon Smith, I mean, he's part of this
hybrid
growing,
but he's not even a hybrid because he doesn't even
but it's a growing group of NFL players who just rush the passer.
Right.
They really don't do anything else.
No, and his comparison to J.J. Watt, even to me, was laughable.
Yeah,
because J.J. Watt is so big in the run game as well. It's these are two different guys.
Yeah, and those guys can succeed if they have good defense behind them.
Right.
Because they're always Allen Smith's always rushing upfield to get the quarterback. You know, if you do a little running play in his direction, you slip right
There's a
under.
hole.
Yeah,
Pat Swilling had that problem.
So that's why you
Quite
need
some time.
great linebackers, which fortunately San Francisco has. So.
Right. No, they have very good linebackers.
Yeah, elite linebackers.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
we'll see.
Yeah, no, I mean, these are all valid points, and I just, to say Baltimore got here out of luck, I can't really.
I mean, it's the only thing.
You shut out New England for a half
I don't
in
know.
New England. I mean, the
not
second
gonna
half.
I'm not going to call it luck, but I mean, I would say that they were fortunate to beat Denver, considering the way the special teams went.
No, two kick returns
With Trenton Holiday.
to LSU.
You know,
I mean,
that should have tipped the balance, and it didn't. You know, and they got
Right.
a long pass at the end. They just flat out played New England.
No, it takes luck. And then, I mean,
Yeah.
we won our Super Bowl with a lot of luck. Thank God Brett Favre was Minnesota's quarterback that year. Nobody else makes that throw other than Peyton Manning. Same situation for Baltimore. In that same game, he threw the same pass across his body, and it was intercepted. And that was it. These are two guys who, over the past 10 years, have not been big in big moments. So,
Yeah.
but Flacco, in his 5-year career, has been big in these moments. And I think Kaepernick is headed in that direction. Speaking of that, their offense versus Baltimore defense. The 49ers beat Green Bay with 181 yards rushing from Kaepernick. Against Atlanta, just 21. They know how to win either way. How will they do it this week in the biggest game that any of these guys have ever played?
Well, you know, Baltimore's got to be watching for the run and talking about how to contain it,
Right.
and not get caught like Green Bay did. Of course, Baltimore's defense is a lot better than Green Bay's.
Get caught playing a zone repeatedly with your back to
Right.
Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Well, we've all this coach in Green Bay. We dealt with him in New Orleans. Finally, people are starting to call him out. He's not the best.
Yeah.
Capers, that was odd for Capers for me, especially when his focus is only defense. To not have something, and the players admitted, like as the Texans players admitted when they lost to New England, we just weren't prepared. Thanks. Fred.
Green Bay's defensive coordinator should change the game plan and sabotage his team by not playing zone.
Well, I mean, it was just 181 yards is unprecedented for any game. But it took Mike Nolan a week to figure it out. Mike Nolan's a disaster. And he just said, all right, Kaepernick guy's ridiculously fast. Gore, not so much. We'll force them to give it to Gore, and we'll just try to tackle him with our linebackers.
But when it gets
they have below average linebackers.
When it gets to the third quarter, he starts breaking the second tackle.
Right.
Because he's breaking the first tackle all game.
I think overall it worked. They just had no answer for Vernon Davis. They tried to guard Vernon Davis with a linebacker.
Which
and
is
again,
laughable.
their best linebacker in the last 5 years plays for the Saints now.
Yeah, and that was completely out of nowhere because he
Wasn't using him at all.
A non-factor.
Right.
once
But the
Kaepernick
Falcons,
took over.
we said it, 32nd guarding the tight end this season. So they had to use him, especially when he's a top 5 player at that position.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just ridiculous that he was ignored to this point. I mean, Harbaugh took Kaepernick into a room and said, "Look at this team. Look how they scheme towards guarding and covering a tight end. He will be there," and he was there all day.
Yeah.
He should have had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. I'm looking at Baltimore. I mean, aside from making sure Kaepernick doesn't go off, I'm looking for them to do something creative, something unexpected. I mean, something that I didn't expect against New England. The conventional wisdom is you put Brady on his back, you're going to beat him. So teams blitz, and it kills them with the quick passes. Baltimore
Played the lanes.
didn't blitz.
Took Welker away.
Yeah, just
Played the lanes.
Yeah.
Played physical and played the lane.
Yeah.
They said, okay, 80% of Brady's game is there.
It's Welker and
Yeah.
Hernandez. I mean, and then that's who was killing people.
Yeah. And Hernandez got some catches, but yeah, Welker was even when the ball was on target. It wasn't.
But I do think that the Vernon Davis issue will still be an issue for the Ravens. They have to know that, especially Ray Lewis won't be able to cover him, and so
that was their weakness against. I mean,
Indy or Denver.
Denver, yeah.
And then they adjusted. But so I think maybe they'll try to use Ed Reed or Pollard to kind of spy Davis. But that will open up big plays for Crabtree and Moss. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a chess game.
Yeah.
He got open downfield. The ball hadn't been there.
Yeah, if Reed is hanging around Vernon Davis, then Moss is going to light out on a fly.
Vernon Davis has one good game every playoff. Look at the Saints last year. He's not going to do it again. Nobody schemes against him because he doesn't show up routinely.
He's there. He's open. He's continuously open. Just Kaepernick doesn't progress to that. I think this game plan was it's either Crabtree or Davis. These are 1 and 2. They moved Davis up in his progression because he wasn't progressing at all. Yeah. He was forcing it to Crabtree, and that was the first touchdown that Green Bay got in that game. It was a forced pass. And
the smart money says the way they got Green Bay is with Cap, and then they knew going into next week there was going to be a lot of focus on Kaepernick, so they just played Atlanta to say, pay attention to me. Here
exactly.
You go, Frank. Pay attention to me. Here you go, LaMichael. Right. And now I'm thinking this week it'll be, hey, pay attention to Vernon Davis. He's coming across your formation. All you slow old half-hurt linebackers, all you guys, chase him.
Right.
And then go to something.
The edges will be open.
I'm thinking that has to be their game plan. At least that's what they're going to go with early.
There's going to be some fireworks.
And if not, you got Vernon Davis running across the middle of your defense. That's a problem. If Kaepernick is getting the ball there, and it looks like he's willing to do that. So unless Ed Reed is going to fly around everywhere and bat down every pass,
possible.
Baltimore.
It is.
Yeah.
Here's my one contribution from Ray Lewis to this game. The guy is smart and intelligent. He's just going to get Vernon Davis out of his game, make him cry. Same thing with Crabtree, another head case.
Right.
That should be his one contribution. Just get those guys out of the game, and you're good to go.
That is good. And it won't be his only because he does lead the playoffs in tackles.
Lost 3.
His right. But his will be when they do because Nada's going to be stuffing holes at Big Bass that can't help himself. So Kaepernick will have to pull. But we need Kruger and Suggs to step up on the edges so it doesn't get to the secondary. Because if Kaepernick gets to the secondary, he doesn't get touched. It's not even not even a matter of tackling him. But it'll be Ray Lewis when they do give it to Gore to smother him. Yeah, those lanes will be there. He needs to smother Gore, and he's done it to this far. And these 2 weeks have helped him in that aspect of it's his final game, and that I think that it weighs pretty heavily too.
I mean, we can talk about it a little bit later, but Frank is the person that's not getting enough coverage right now.
Right.
And if Baltimore can't deal with Frank, this game is going to go badly.
Well, not like Michael James too, as such a change of pace, and he ate up Atlanta at times, and they put him in space, which they will do this time. That Roman guy, Harbaugh's right. He's done a great job, especially since Kaepernick, which he's given him more options.
But because of the way the league works and everybody's trying to get their whole staff in place where they can all be together to watch the Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl, I guess that's why everybody wants their staff. This guy ain't even getting any looks at all.
Right,
because they're still playing.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, he's solid.
He might be the next offensive mind, and they might also think Harbaugh has more to do with that than he may. I don't know. And Harbaugh's loyal as a dog, so he's going to give this guy all the credit in the world, but he might have just as much a part of it, as they do. So we've done those matchups. Maybe we talk about X factors for each of these teams. And I alluded to, we'll go with Baltimore first. I alluded to it. I think Pitta, especially given Dennis Pitta, the tight end for Baltimore, Gonzalez had 8 targets with 8 catches and a touchdown against the 49ers last week. And I think that he should have been targeted on that final play. And had he was open. And he may have scored a touchdown, and we might be talking about a different team right now. But I don't know. I know it's Tony Gonzalez, and it's a Hall of Famer and best player at that position ever. But Pitt has shown that ability in space. He's more agile. He's younger. He's leaped over players to get the football. Where Tony just in space, he's just wonderful, and he has been for 15 years or whatever it is. But for me, Bernard Pierce in a lesser way, but Dennis Pitta. He's a big safety valve for Flacco, and it's funny, Flacco's safety valve is 15 yards down the field because his typical pass is 50 yards down the field. But it's Pitta for me for Baltimore.
Go ahead.
Well, my thoughts, I think it's obvious. Well, maybe it's not an obvious pick, but I haven't heard a lot of talk about Ray Rice either because he's been getting bottled up, and I think he's going to be
well. Last week he did. He had 100. He had a lot of. They ran him to death against Denver.
Yes.
And he got 130, but his yards per carry is down.
Yes, and I think they're going to have to go with that same plan against San Francisco, and I hope they don't get too cute for their own good, because it's San Francisco, let's not even try to run it. I'm assuming both of these teams are physical, and they got enough ego about being physical to say, hey, you know what? I don't care who's on the other side. We're lining up. We're running.
Well, no, even against Denver and New England, they ran on first and second down, no matter what. And Flacco kept converting the third longs to Bolden, to Pitta. They converted a 4th and 23, which saved that season. Is what they're rolling with.
Yeah.
So they don't fear 3rd and 8.
Yeah. But I'd advise them to not be sitting on a lot of 3rd and 8s this Sunday.
Well, with the secondary, I don't know. San Francisco's not going to blitz. They won't. They don't. They don't think they need to, and that's a problem.
That's bold.
Right. That's a problem. That's why Atlanta ate them up. They didn't think they needed to blitz. They didn't get a pass rush at all till late in the 4th, and Matt Ryan was already waiting to shit his pants. So
that's something they could spring.
Right. It is.
Like, hey,
but they did do it. So but it's there. So and Baltimore will. They're not Mike Smith. I mean, John Harbaugh's not. This is the postseason. Mike Smith's a great regular season coach.
Yeah.
But he gives you a clinic of poor coaching in the postseason, especially in the second halves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate for Atlanta to hate on Atlanta a little bit more. They don't have at least a B- running back. Because up 17-0, if you lay on the ball, you win that game. If you can just do anything on the ground. But
Turner had an above-average postseason, but yeah, I don't know that they trust him as much as his numbers said he was providing.
If you're up 17-0 and you have an acceptable running
and you're at home,
you lay on the ball, you keep looking at the clock.
Well, that's the thing
and you're like, all right, is it over yet? Can we get out of here? And
then that's when you lose. If you play that game, that's when you lose.
But if it's 3rd and short, you got Tony, and then you just, if you can get to 3rd and short, you Tony your way up out of there, and you're out of there. But no, they're running everybody wide. They're still, and you look at those passes that they completed. It was a lot of skin of the teeth, hands on.
Roddy White making catches that he hasn't made in his career.
People making wild catches. Like the way they got up was very misleading in that game.
When you saw they broke down, I don't know if it was during the game, but maybe after, how now Jones will be even a deadlier push-off guy than Roddy White because he's so quick out of his cuts that you don't even see his swift shove. I mean, half his catches were,
Well, yeah, he learned from
Roddy. Right. Yeah. Roddy doesn't have that quickness anymore as much, but now, I mean, they learn from the same guy. And so, and it was cool that they pointed it out because, geez, I mean, Roddy White for 3 years was the king of that, and now he's passed the crown to his teammate.
Yeah, my X factor is Jacoby Jones. I mean, he's known, especially in Houston, for fumbling a lot, and he's had some adventurous
blunders,
this season in the playoffs. But he kind of quietly was the number 2 return guy in the NFL this year.
He was a Pro Bowler.
Yeah. So he can win it or lose it for him if it's a close game.
There's no doubt. That's what an X factor is. Brad, you got for the Ravens?
The X factor is going to be the tight end y'all haven't talked about all day.
Dixon?
It's not going to be, exactly.
You don't even know who it is.
It's not going to be Vernon Davis, It's not.
We're not talking about the 49ers.
Baltimore.
I'm saying it's not going to be Pitta. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about 49ers. Walker.
No, we're doing one from each team. Put your phone down.
It's an X factor
for each team.
Baltimore. Yeah. Harder than it sounds.
Would you go in order?
Well, y'all are all Baltimore fans. I just figured.
No, that's not true.
What you talking about, Willis?
That's not true. Delanie Walker, he's got like 3 catches in the playoffs.
Yeah. He's going to break out.
That would be.
So that would be a 49ers one, so that's out the way.
Yeah.
What's your Ravens one?
We don't have to go back to him later.
Do you have one? The Ravens now?
The X factor, if you look at a Super Bowl, it's always someone from the defensive side that rises to the occasion or gets fortunate or lucky to have multiple interceptions, returns. So if it's looking at Baltimore's side, it's got to be Ed Reed.
Well, I mean, we love him, and it would be great in his hometown to have a
heartwarming story, which always also works and helps.
Right. There's just that would. I mean, that.
How many family members does he have coming to the game?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm not going there.
They don't exactly give you free tickets for the Super Bowl, though. So.
They each get a handful.
They get a few?
That's why it's limited to the general public. Because a lot of
every player gets 2 tickets. All you do is you call your friends on other rosters and try to get their tickets.
Every player in the league.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice.
So they don't care to go, and their family don't care to go.
Yeah.
On to San Francisco, we know Brad's. He didn't know his name, but Delanie Walker, the fullback, tight end, which he does sneak out of the backfield sometimes.
He figures in their deep passing game a lot.
He does. He sneaks down that sideline.
Yeah.
Davis's one game is done. He just had it.
I hope you're right. I really do. I really do. Because I'm not. I still think I don't know. I still think he had a good game against the Giants in the NFC Championship last year. I remember him scoring in the game.
I can't remember.
He just skips the first couple rounds, and then he only plays 2 rounds. But no, I hope you're right.
Your point is well taken. That he doesn't show up a majority of the time.
But if you watch the games, he's wide open. He's not showing up. It's Kaepernick not using him.
And before that, it was Smith.
Right, and it's baffling. Smith just, I don't know. He's another storyline. That shouldn't be a storyline. But mine for the 49ers is David Akers. I think the 49ers are going to go for it more on 4th down. And that's either going to benefit them or be a detriment. How can you trust the guy? He's had the worst rating of the season as a kicker.
I mean,
he missed last week again.
38,
but they keep letting him kick.
Right, it's a loyalty thing, and Harbaugh's got to let that go.
Yeah,
I mean his backup's Cundiff, so I understand. But I mean,
well, he's not the offensive mind that Chip Kelly or Mike Martz were to let your high-powered offense
go for 2. Go for 2.
Go for 2. Go for short yardage, 4th downs.
Yeah, and they made. I don't know if it's come to that point. It may, and maybe it benefits them. Maybe they go for it on the 4th and 1 when they shouldn't have.
I love the 4th and short. Go for it on the 35.
And you have to factor in the brotherly. You do. You just.
I know what you're thinking.
I'm going to bet, or I'm going to best him this time. I'm going to, maybe your decision making process isn't the same because it's your family on the other side. Maybe it's got. They're human.
Well, the interesting question is if John Harbaugh kind of rose first or put more time in. So you got to figure John was asking him more questions. And so he probably knows more. Jim was asking a lot more questions. So, John, what do you do in this situation? How do you handle this? Versus vice versa. So you got to wonder if he has a better understanding of what John's going to do versus what Jim.
They're a year and 3 months apart. It's hard to imagine one of them.
And they both recruited
strategic edge on the other.
I think they're both recruited for their father.
So close. Yeah,
but he's been a head coach in Baltimore before.
And in Philly. Well, no, the problem was John was coaching when Jim was playing.
Yeah.
So that's your point. I mean, he's been
and through Stanford is his first head coaching gig.
Of course, no, you're right. John was coaching when Jim was playing. John wasn't playing.
Right. So he might have some idea on tendencies or what he might do.
Right, and then maybe it becomes a chess game that way. But maybe he's thinking that. I hope they don't do that. I hope they just treat it. But again, they're human, and who knows how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
Then X Factor from
the
49ers.
49ers. I know we've talked about him already, and maybe it's not so much an X factor as an important factor. Well, that's a fun one. Yeah, I could see that one. I was going to take Justin Smith.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He's more key factor,
because if he's
a surprise if he plays well.
Because if he's healthy, he plays well. He just needs to. People need to respect him enough to command. So he commands a double team.
Extra attention. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's a very big one because Alden Smith becomes that same in that same X factor. They kind of come. Apparently, they go together.
Yes, they become an XY factor.
Right. Well, one needs the other, and that's it.
Which one did you call the girl?
Well,
Alden gotta be.
We're XYs, aren't we? Men XY. Isn't that our chromosomal
XY?
Yeah,
not wives, I guess.
Yeah, not wives.
We thought he said wives.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
No,
Well, all right. I don't know how we got here.
It's my tall boy mother life.
Yeah, I have no idea how we got here.
Anyway, our
ex-wives.
We talked about Vernon Davis. We talked about Frank, LaMichael, Kaepernick. what is he going to do? I keep saying there's going to be a game where he shows up and he doesn't play well, and it keeps not happening.
It's coming.
But this might be it.
Yeah.
But
we said it. He's going to. This decision will bite him in the ass at some point. This is it. This is our last chance.
This is the last chance.
And we have to ride that. This is our last chance.
I believe he's going to show up and shit his pants one of these weeks, and he's gonna not make the throws he needs to make. He's going to run when he should stay and stay when he should run. And
Pollard will injure him because that's what he does.
Yeah, Pollard will somehow.
I mean, I would honestly, I wouldn't mind an Alex Smith sighting in this game, but that would be cool. That would be
down 6, 2 minutes to go. Alex Smith sighting.
Yeah, but that would make Jim Harbaugh said he made a wrong decision, and he'll never do that.
No, all right.
Rather go down and play.
Well, Smith has to come in and win. I mean,
let's be clear.
Right.
I mean, Harbaugh's decision.
Well, no, if Captain gets hurt, he has to. I'm saying that an injury would be the only way. You're right. Injury would be the only way Alex Smith comes in this game.
Right. That big roll of the dice that Harbaugh made, by going with Kaepernick when Smith was leading the league in passer rating.
Crazy.
Has worked.
Crazy.
Right. I mean, it's paid off. Even if Kaepernick craps the bed in the Super Bowl and they lose as a result, it's like, would Alex Smith have gotten them here?
We don't know.
You can't say that.
We don't know.
That if he would have had the higher rating the whole time with that defense, and he could have easily.
We don't know. We don't know. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We don't know. But a lot of people are alluding to the point that they got here. It's no longer can you value it a mistake. I don't know how I view that. I haven't even thought about it.
I think you got to zoom forward a couple of years.
They win this. There's no. Well, they win this. It's you got to reign. You're in infamy.
You got to get it up.
It's over. I mean,
how about an X factor being Jim Harbaugh, and that the only way to prove that he's the best tactical coach of all time would be to put Alex Smith in and say, I think that he gives us the best chance to win. So then he's always right if they win.
But in every press conference, Jim Harbaugh has to say,
do is gold.
That would be something that his brother would have coming.
In every press conference, Jim Harbaugh has to say, I think Colin Kaepernick gives us the best chance to win. In every press conference, he's been asked the question and he's had to say it.
Yep.
So
I'm going with Randy Moss because I'm wishful thinking.
Oh, jeez. Just because you have a Cash Money T-shirt and moniker, I'm sorry, Cash Homie.
Straight cash, homie.
Straight, treat it right.
That's Chris Carter. That's CC.
I'm not insulting.
That's CC. That's Chris Carter. Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash, homie. Straight Cash Homie has gotten up here on Tuesday.
He said he was the best ever.
I saw.
So he was the best. He got to do something in this game.
Right? Get a catch.
He's not going to get
I would
any
have believed
attention.
that from Terrell Owens, but not from Randy Moss.
Oh God.
Yeah, there's no film supporting the fact that he's going to somehow be a big part of this game, but he's supposed to be one of their big play X Factor guys. The other one is hurt.
Diva rearing his head right before the Super Bowl. That can't be good for your team.
Johnson didn't do anything. Johnson didn't say anything. Chad Johnson last year didn't say a word.
No, he didn't even have a
Moss said he was the best receiver of all time this week.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Yeah.
They asked him and he said it. And Jerry Rice was like, well, I just let the fans determine what that is. I don't know. He's not even Jerry Rice. Fuck Jerry Rice.
Let's not get started on that.
So people hate on Moss for thinking that. But 4 years ago, everybody was saying it. So just because he's been a role player and been quiet about it and been cool about it, they forget that he was the most dominant player for a decade. I mean, longevity has its place.
Sure.
And Rice and Emmett can take that to their house and bang each other for all I care.
Well, okay. You brought this up, so I'm going in.
Uh-oh.
Wait,
Rice and Emmett both have the stats, in terms of lifetime achievement and stuff.
Right.
But I do not put Emmett in the same class as Rice.
No, good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him in my doggy house.
Right, yeah. I mean,
Emmett's
not a top 10 running.
You watch these. You watch these highlights.
Before when he held out, and then of course they don't lose the rest of the season.
There were other factors, but you watch.
That was kind of a nice bargaining thing. They lost the first couple.
Right, they wanted him back.
They're like, shit.
You just watch highlights. It's like he was not even. There were lanes 20 yards downfield. Nobody touched him.
But Tuane and Newton were doing this,
Yeah,
They're like,
no. Rice is certainly
and he wasn't
in the conversation
about it when he was going through the hole. He was like bullshitting around, like, should I go?
And he would fall into the end zone like, oh, I got touched. No, you didn't. You punk bitch.
He's the only running back or linebacker in the history of the league to play a complete game with a separated shoulder and still run out 100 yards. Unbelievable.
The only one that's admitted it, yes. Why or linebacker? What is that?
Similar hits. Only those two hit each other.
Nobody hit Emmitt Smith. He probably tripped over himself.
Superior vision and
going to no, he
made
really
it hard.
Robert Griffin III played I don't know how many plays with a torn ACL because his team wouldn't admit that he had one.
Emmitt Smith.
He had one at that point.
He's no good.
He had a torn something.
Yeah, Rice is in the conversation where Emmitt Smith is in the dumpster. You're right.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to say that.
So don't put them in the same house.
I mean, you talking about the Super Bowl and everything coming down to the middle of the field and physical defenses on the lines, high-level linebackers. So now you're talking about
Freddie Krueger.
Krueger's
going to rear his ugly head again. He 2.5 sacks.
Yeah, you're talking about secondary that has injuries and or questions, and that means you got to be taking shots. And if Kaepernick's going to take shots, Moss is somebody I could see as a sneaky person to take shots to, who would be getting one-on-one coverage.
He's not a downfield player anymore.
And he could be saying
they still ran. They threw him the ball downfield once every game this year.
Yeah,
and it wasn't because he wasn't open.
0?
It wasn't. It was overthrown. He was open. He was open. The guy still got speed. He was that faster.
That must have been one incompletion that Alex Smith threw the game before he got hurt.
No, they didn't do it with Alex Smith. No, they didn't do it.
Once again.
He caught a touchdown.
Well, with Kaepernick.
He caught a touchdown against the Patriots that was reasonably long, about 25.
25 long? That's not a 2-point bonus in fantasy.
well, yeah.
No, it's 40.
Oh, well, here we go.
That's long. That's
not a 2-point bonus.
No, but
I'm sure that's exactly what they said to him when he got back to the sideline.
These passes are 50 plus. I'm not saying he's going to factor in. I'm just saying he's fast enough that you have to acknowledge him on the field.
And when you get Ed Reed making guesses and doing squirrely stuff, there's going to be some one-on-one situations now. It's just going to be a matter of Kaepernick's going to have the time.
Well, in Baltimore found they found that the best two corners were guys who were sitting earlier in the year. Yeah. They were young guys, but I still think there will be fireworks in this game. There will be points scored, as well as
I don't see either defense shutting either offense.
Right, but we didn't.
San Fran has a chance.
But we didn't
shut
think.
Them down.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't. No, he just doesn't like that.
New England's defense is terrible. Come on.
Better than last year.
Yeah, they were doing a good job.
But but Baltimore's game plan after getting up was to just ball control, and they just smothered New England's defense. I mean,
but
bottom line.
I mean, they got up on a drive where it was 10 plays and 9 of them were passes, and they were out in the gun, and they just spread them out and just said
because they saw because
Talib left the game. They had no secondary with Talib.
With him they had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
With him they had a chance. But this San Francisco defense is a shell of itself. With the Justin Smith injury and the secondary, that trickles down. That secondary is not this. I understand Atlanta's passing game is great, but it was shut down for a lot of games this year. I mean, just for halves, where this 49ers defense was just getting burned and burned and burned. And if it's not Matt Ryan fumbling a snap right in his hands because he's Matt Ryan, Atlanta's in this game.
And Art's leaping off the roof.
We all are. Atlanta and New Orleans for the Super Bowl? That's the worst combination ever. I mean,
people weren't even talking about that. And I kept bringing it up like, hey, everybody does realize.
No, I just never believed. I never believed it was ever possible.
Like, this is a problem.
They got up 17-0, and I'm watching the game with her father, and I'm like, still not worried.
Yeah.
17-7, still not worried. 17-14, still not worried. They were almost up at the half if they weren't. I mean, and that was it.
And
they
were still one play away. Yeah.
They were, but Matt Ryan made sure. And he wouldn't even. I don't know if he could have played this week. His right shoulder, his non-throwing shoulder's gone.
Yeah.
That would have sucked for all of us. Well, not really. Baltimore would have just housed them. But I would have enjoyed that.
They're back up anyway.
But
you still have Redmond? For like the last 5 years?
It's another guy.
Isaac Redmond?
Redmond's been going.
Correct.
Are you sure?
No, because they have the Georgia.
I thought Chris Redmond was out of the league 10 years ago, and then he shows up 3 or 4 years ago.
It's one of those guys. It's one of those squirrely white undersized quarterbacks. But they have the brown guy too.
There's some guys that you just never see because the starters are healthy and
right.
Or they're just
and
their head
David Carr
and their head takes up the whole sideline.
Yeah, right.
So when they're talking to other players, you can't see anything.
Yeah.
I saw people a lot on the sideline this year.
His head is huge.
Well, and because
that's what
look for Tebow.
Because he belongs in the sideline.
The Tebow is not starting.
And out of the league.
That was news in the last week of the season when the Jets had already been eliminated from the playoffs.
You know.
Have they released him yet? Not yet. Can you do that?
It's the worst part about watching, football is the coaches get such a big ego they don't do what's right or what'll make them be proved wrong. Except for John Fox, and he actually rewarded him with a player victory.
The Kaepernick move.
Right, he did it on purpose to make him look smart. The easy decision would have been to move right back to Alex Smith.
Right, that's the safe one.
Right, so he wanted to look smarter than everybody else.
No.
That's why you sometimes
he is.
don't switch or switch.
Well, so what are you going to... When Tebow's not in the league next year, how are you going to defend that? Every general manager in the league's an idiot?
Because there's 11 new head coaches in the league, and how are you going to change? How are you going to start a coaching regime on an offense that you have to basically create and sell?
Because it doesn't exist.
No, because you could be out.
A successful offense with Tebow under center doesn't exist.
Just
aside for Jacksonville, I haven't heard any Tebow buzz.
Jacksonville won him. They came out immediately and said,
coaches can't
they said, I don't want to... Why would we want this guy?
Look, the one thing this year proved, with Russell Wilson, with RG3...
He doesn't have the...
You don't have to have the elite running ability if the
No, he doesn't have their throwing ability.
Yeah, those are good passers.
They're passers. They can throw the football.
The threat to throw the ball needs to be there.
It's the dual threat.
He sucks at both. He's a fullback.
How did he amass that record if he's so...
And now he's...
Look at his stats. They were pitiful.
And he's gained weight now, so he's even slower now.
Because he knows he's a fullback. I don't want to waste a Tebow conversation on this podcast.
What the hell are we doing?
I mean,
I don't know how we
you're the
got
only person who thinks he's worth anything. He is absolutely terrible.
It's called hijacking the podcast.
It doesn't matter if nobody listens. He's terrible.
Going back to my X factor, I didn't realize that Justin Smith is telling people his triceps injury will not force him to retire.
Good to know. But it's still an injury.
Well, I mean, the fact that he's saying that,
yeah, but it's still an injury.
I'm retire because of that. I'm like,
but I'm
jacked
up. Right. That's still an X factor. That's why they won't pressure Flacco and they're going to lose his football game.
No, honestly, I'm not going to retire because of this injury. Oh, but you're going to play next week. Oh, okay, good, awesome.
Good to know. Does Alvin Smith know all this? Does Alvin Smith need to start paying you? Pay you. Well, so that I guess we got to get into. I mean, if it hasn't been deduced from our conversations about each of these things, who we expect to win or who we want to win or whatever we think, whoever thinks going to win. The spread is San Francisco favored by 3.5, which means if the game's in San Francisco, they're 6.5 favorites. If it's
in Baltimore,
they're half-point favorites. So they're saying 49ers in Baltimore would be favored.
If it wasn't San Francisco, I'd take Flacco all day on 6.5 points because he spent money on the road. And then
that wind, how windy it was. That's another reason they couldn't throw the ball in New England. That it was so windy in that game, and he was able to make the throws downfield.
Flacco, I mean, he was having trouble in the first quarter,
right? When
they were with the wind,
right?
And he kept overthrowing people,
right?
Go figure,
right?
But he adjusted in the second half, and made some good throws.
He was against the wind then.
Not the entire second half, just for one quarter.
They swap each time.
They didn't have to throw the fourth quarter.
New England was one drop away from being down a touchdown.
They threw touchdown passes in the second half, multiple.
In the third quarter, right? That's the second half still.
Oh, thank you.
We're a welcome drop away.
The third quarter is
right. It's a necessary thing you need to learn.
Yes, I said second half.
If you would have said fourth quarter.
Well, he implied the first time that they swapped first and second quarter, so he figured
Luke
we'd assume.
I
knew it was another one of those squirrely little white dudes.
Jeez.
But who's the third? Did they have a third string?
Dominic Davis.
That's his name?
Yeah.
Is he out of Georgia Tech or Clemson or something?
Isn't Dominic Davis?
Why would they carry that guy in a round? Why would they carry that guy?
Because he's a mobile threat and he can play receiver.
East Carolina.
Yeah, he's one of those like David Garrard kind of guy, but smaller. Yeah, they like him. I don't know. He gets a lot of run in preseason. They still keep him. So 3.5 point spread. It's obvious where I'm going with this. I'll take the money line.
Yeah, same.
Oh, you're taking Baltimore to win too?
No, well, I'm taking the spread.
Sorry, I was looking at you, but I was talking to Art.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking.
Well, no, 3.5. We're going spread first.
Spread first.
Yeah, I'll take Baltimore. I'll take those points.
Take 3.5.
Yeah,
I'll take 3.5 also.
This would be a slam dunk. San Fran except for the Kaepernick shitting his pants, has got to happen. And I just hope that Jim Harbaugh gets proved wrong, because I hate the Kaepernick celebrations.
Oh, God, we all do.
At least he's not doing a discount double.
He's a punk. He's a punk.
But San Fran is better on both sides of the ball. I wouldn't have taken him at 7.5 or 8 or whatever craziness it started out.
So you're taking Baltimore.
Started at 7?
No, I'm taking San Fran.
3.5.
But I wouldn't.
It started at 4.5. I think.
No, we started much higher. And
No, it didn't.
It steadily went down.
It started at 4.5. It started at 4.5.
I think the night.
Barnwell even said. I think Barnwell said it only started at 4.
Yeah.
He was in Vegas when it dropped. It's never been that high. 4.5 would be the highest.
Not
it's been.
7. Yeah.
Well, it's not a slam dunk like Ray Lewis.
But it might be down
after the game either way
because it's dropped to 3.
Because Ray Lewis is a crier.
We got a prop.
That's a
bet
prop.
on
That should be a prop bet.
It would be 99-1. It would be 99-1. He doesn't.
Well, they even have a hug. It's a hardball hug. 5.5 seconds or something.
It was 7.
That's what it is. 7. Because I thought 7 was ridiculous. Well, why don't they just bet 20 G? Why don't they bet a lot?
How about this prop bet? You remember when Ted Ginn Jr. was in college and he returned the opening kickoff?
They never played another down?
And the celebration. What if Ray Lewis snaps a hammy or an Achilles doing his stupid little dance before the game even starts? Wouldn't that be perfect?
Well, I don't know. Does he do it on the road?
No, he does it every time.
Oh,
he does.
He's going to do it. He's going to do it.
I think Fox is going to ask him to do it. Whoever's
when the Ravens played in Houston this year,
he didn't do it.
I went to that game. The Ravens they didn't do introductions.
He doesn't do it in a row.
They just brought the whole team out.
He doesn't do it in a row, but I agree. Super Bowl
It's the
is
Super Bowl. He's
neutral.
going to do it.
It's neutral.
He'll do it for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Hell, if he's not in the halftime show, I'd be surprised. Anyway,
what if he pokes his eye out by putting on his face paint?
No.
That would be quite a
I
problem.
thought that was just a mole.
What happened?
Drive.
Because it's always perfectly Ravenized.
All right. Money line then.
Who we got winning? And score.
I'm struggling. I really am. I just keep saying it. I keep saying it until Kaepernick is going to screw these guys at some point, damn it. And he's going to have to make throws, and I just, on the outside the hash, he's going to have to make some grown man throws to win this game. I just believe it. And I can't imagine that in my mind, him getting away with making second-year college guy throws and winning this game. Like, that's what he's been doing all through his whole run. I mean, after that first week where he made throws against Chicago, which I don't know what the hell they were doing in that game because everybody was wide open.
Chicago sucked since the Texans beat them. And like, really, the Texans beat us? Well, we suck.
And that was supposedly a marquee game.
Right.
Since Cutler got hurt last
flew after.
Right.
We got to lay down.
But it started like 7-1 this year. Again.
every year.
I know.
That's the,
Lovie Smith doesn't want to be a defensive coordinator? Good, because we might have interviewed that punk motherfucker.
Well, at least would have started good.
Right?
Yeah,
Something.
he's got to screw him, and that's going to be enough. Flacco's going to make a couple throws. I'm going Baltimore.
Score. This is one game. We got
24-17.
Oh, that's low scoring. Brad?
We're going 27-17 San Fran. They're just going to beat them.
But you keep saying, every time he says Cap's going to screw him, you're shaking your head
I don't.
agreeing.
It's going to be the worst game ever for me because I'm going to be pulling against a team I'm pretty sure is going to win. And that, I would love them to lose.
not a San Fran fan?
Well, we can't be.
Just because of Kaepernick?
They used to be in our division.
Harbaugh just seemed too. They just seem too.
They were in the NFC West with us for our childhood. I mean, but I've rooted for them the last decade.
They led the charmed life in the 90s. You know,
Yeah.
And, so I was sick of their shit.
Right.
Growing up.
And then they had a decade to get it back.
Yeah.
I don't like hearing how smart someone is all the time. But then
now you got two Harbaughs, so you got to hear it.
John's more low key.
The only, maybe the good thing about the whole Ray Lewis story in Baltimore is that's all you hear about. So there's no pressure or no ill feelings towards anyone else, and I'll give them credit for maybe masterminding that. But I don't know. The whole San Fran thing just irks me. But I still think they're going to win. I still think they're better, and I think Kaepernick will make a throw or two, and we'll run it or figure it out or. They're two running back. They have a great running game.
They do. No,
an offensive line.
He didn't run last week because he couldn't. He just didn't have to. They were. It's a read, and
it was a scheme.
And the Falcons purposely made him give to Gore. They'll stop Gore. And so Kaepernick can't get around the edge and go for 80 yards. They did that on purpose, which is what Baltimore can try to do. But Halloty's so big. I hope they still just kind of creates a hole, and then Ray Lewis cleans it up. I mean, it's perfect. If you watch it, they purposely made him give. And Gore had 100 yards, but he didn't have 181 yards. You picked the lesser of two evils. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's exactly what Baltimore's going to do. But Ray Lewis and these other linebackers for Baltimore are much better than Atlanta's. Oh, they're much better. Atlanta's linebackers are a disaster. So they will be able to scheme to make Kaepernick give the football, and that's what happened. That's why he only rushed it 2 times last week. And one of the times is because they botched it and he had to take it. And the other one was it was a design bootleg and he got the first down.
If you think the two coaches could pick their team, they weren't their team.
You'd never get that.
I think both would take San Fran.
No. You never.
If they weren't on that team. Say they were the Saints and the Patriots head coaches, and they said pick a team to coach. I think they both pick San Fran.
Where do you see the gap, though?
I think both the offensive line, defensive line.
These are the best. No, these.
I think
San Francisco is the best offensive line, but Baltimore. If you talk to offensive linemen, and they interviewed a lot of them today, said Baltimore is right there with them, especially the way they're playing right now. Flacco does. One of the main reasons Flacco's playing so well, he doesn't get pressure. He sits back there, and he's 6'5". He sits back there, and he can survey the whole field.
All right, so he hasn't had a chance or an opportunity to shit his pants yet in the playoffs.
He doesn't. He's fearless. He gets it. He takes it. He's like Kurt Warner was. He'll take the hit.
Shh, talking about the Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice, don't even.
Well, he's overrated too. He takes the hit, though. I don't want to extend this another hour. He's with you. I don't want to extend this another hour. But he takes the hit, too.
Can I just get my favorite 2 quarterbacks of all time in the same podcast?
But he hasn't had to. Right, Tebow's the other one, sadly.
Wow.
But
non-players.
But it's just that there's no edge on I don't think at either line because of the way Baltimore both teams play defense so well, and Baltimore is playing defense with their front, I guess 3, much better than the 49ers are playing with their front 3 right now. They're getting sacks. They're generating a pass rush.
How is Ray Lewis going to figure out how to tackle Michael James when he runs right by him?
He won't. It'll be Suggs. It'll be Kruger. Yeah. It'll be the guys on the edge.
The offensive line will take care of those guys, so Ray Lewis is going to have to make a play.
The offensive line's not going to get to the edge.
No, the offensive line is going to block the D lineman.
But Suggs plays outside linebacker.
Are you saying Ray Lewis isn't going to get tackles on Sunday?
No.
He's led the league. He's going to have 15.
He's going to get tackles.
He's led the playoffs.
He may not be as fast as Michael James.
He's going to keep Gore to 3 yards when they keep Kaepernick from 12. That's what his role is going to be.
There's going to be some frightening collisions.
That's exactly what it's going to be. They're going to be 2 great players colliding. And I love both those guys. But Gore's got a couple more years. The 49ers aren't going away. You're right. They're a young, wonderfully built franchise. This is it for the Baltimore Ravens for now. And because the defense, they are in a good place. They have the best general manager in football. But they will lose a lot in the leadership with Ray Lewis retiring and Ed Reed going in New England.
You know the best storyline?
Yeah, I just said yes.
The best storyline ever would be if Baltimore wins, Ray Lewis retires, Ed Reed retires.
Goes to the Saints.
And Flacco gives him a middle finger and says, screw you.
I'm going now.
I'm leaving too. I'm going to Arizona. Bottom of the league the next 5 years. That would be so funny. And Flacco would be totally responsible for dismantling and disrupting a franchise that didn't give him respect. That would be the greatest power move.
And it's not that they haven't, because this is one of the better run organizations, and Flacco.
Too late for that. You can't say that now.
No, he hasn't made.
He got his hand in.
No, don't tell me. I don't know. I gotta see this. Leon just have to be cited again. This guy's at the house. This guy plays for Dallas.
Because he's in a dungeon getting beat up.
We go through a cornerback every week, so yeah.
Because who was the guy Belichick cut the morning of the Super Bowl?
Tiquan Underwood.
And he made a play or something and in one of these games, and he cut him the morning of the Super Bowl.
Right.
Only Belichick. It's a business, I get it, but have a heart. Like, for a second.
Yeah, that was pretty dick.
And he missed the hell out of that kick, too. It wasn't even close.
It was like, shit. We got to open up the dungeon again.
But, yeah, I don't.
Let me smile after I get off camera.
Flacco, Ozzie Newsome does his job too well. But
the NFL is all about overpaying a quarterback. If you don't have one, you're screwed.
No, and they know that. That's why
gamble.
That's why Flacco's never made it an issue.
And
he knows.
He's pretty comfortable. They're going to pull him in the room. They're going to roll their eyes like, you fucked us this time, Joe. We didn't think you were going to be this good.
But in the playoffs, he's done this. I don't.
Yeah.
That's a better betting line. Is all right. What's his number next year?
18.
15, 18, 20?
18.
Flacco?
No matter what
18.
happens.
All the way to 18? He's going to tie Peyton Manning for second?
No, Peyton gets like 25.
Peyton,
I don't know.
Yeah, Peyton is
18 or 19 was Peyton because Drew had to be more.
Fuck that.
He did. Drew had to be more. And we wanted to pay him what Peyton.
Yeah.
We wanted to pay him what Peyton made.
No, you're right. It was like 19-8, so Drew wanted 20.
Yeah.
And hopefully he restructures that or
I'd see Flacco make 15 or 16, unless he throws for 500 yards in the Super Bowl.
You know what?
You know?
18.
Yeah, but it's a pride thing.
18.
No, I don't know.
What are they going to do without him? I would love him to screw him.
But I don't think Joe's going to go that far because, number one, it's the Baltimore Ravens. And they're going to pull him in the room. And they're going to roll their eyes.
This is a top 3 franchise. I mean, it really is.
Joe, you fucked us, but do you really want to go play in fucking Kansas City?
Yeah.
With Andy Reid? I mean, that's not a bad gig, but...
And how often do star players leave Baltimore and say, fuck those guys, they didn't take care of me?
Right. None. Ed Reed's still there. I mean, and they still paid him. They kept Ray for 17 years.
Right. Yeah. So I'm the only player you didn't show love to in the last decade. Thanks a lot, Ozzie Newsome. You were so smart and brilliant with everybody, but obviously you didn't believe in me at all. I don't know, man.
If it was a big deal, Flacco was flipping with his mouth. He would have said, "I'm out." He would have said something stupid, but he doesn't. He understands. He's always said, "I know it'll get taken care of. I'm not worried about it."
And when you're sitting on those type of playoff numbers and that amount of playoff wins,
right?
He's gonna have a Super Bowl ring. He's gonna say, "You're right." He might be a gotcha bitch, and he's gone. But either way, he's happy. I mean, he didn't. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Drew lost us 3 games this year, punk motherfucker.
What's Minnesota's cap room?
Probably a lot. Who are they paying?
Yeah.
AP and
because the end,
Allen.
he's just about done.
I mean, look at
Scumbag.
good teams with underperforming quarterbacks.
That's about 15 of them.
Well, Ponder, that said, got him to the playoffs. I mean, now Peterson was a big part, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Orange Pete.
without him, they looked like an offense that, against a defense that got torched the following week, they looked like a pretty crappy offense. I'm not saying
Ponder played well in about a third of his
and he's any good,
Yeah.
but no, that's the thing is, that's why he's going to get $18 million. He's going to drop a list of 12 teams that are desperate, and this is what they're going to give me. This is what they're paying me. Do you want to keep me and stay at this level of franchise, or hope that you pull a Russell Wilson out of the hat, which people don't understand? It was Drew Brees in '96, and now it's Russell Wilson in 2013, 2012. They come every 16 years. This is not something you can go find. This is
because that's
they don't exist
right now.
Right.
If teams are looking at,
they're going to start waiting.
That started. If they're thinking, man, I can just go roll up on the next 6'3" dude with a funny look on his face, and
5'11" dude,
or catch another Russell Wilson.
They don't exist. Happen. They don't. It's every 14 years. This guy, I mean, they don't exist. Or 2001 to now. Yeah, I mean, it's every 12 years.
People aren't gonna.
They're not. They're not out there. I mean, they're not. These are special players. That's why they're special.
Or what would really work well is if he went to New England and showed Tom Brady, who hasn't been a clutch quarterback in a long time. Then they trade Tom Brady. What could you get for Tom Brady? How much?
I don't know. Now
you could get an entire defense. Yeah. Defense and Flacco and the best coach in the league.
The problem is,
why not do that?
Belichick's not top 5. But the problem is,
then they'd have to throw Ryan Mallett out.
The problem is Belichick's married to one player, and it's Brady.
Yeah.
Everybody else can go second.
Honestly, if I'd be married to an NFL player, looks, it'd be Brady.
Well, all right. Look, wheels fall off. The wheels fell off.
Nobody said a word. I'm petting the dog.
I was trying to keep going. I was trying to act like
players
that didn't happen.
Right.
Man, he'd be second place.
Mailman,
he'd be second place.
Well, he's cheaper than Drew, so I mean.
No, I want somebody more religious and spiritual.
Ray Lewis.
He said players in the league. He won't be in the league in a month.
What a mistake.
It's not even close.
Maybe he can get into coaching. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Missionary work.
Play hard.
So, Brad, did you have a score?
Missionary something I'd like to do with him, I guess.
I thought you dropped 27-17.
Yeah.
Okay, I did get yours. So.
Yeah. I got San Fran 24-23.
So Akers makes the game-winning field goal, which he hasn't done.
Oh, yeah.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, well,
I picked the 23 for Baltimore. With that being 3 field goals, I think they'll move the ball, but I see San Fran managing to hold them to.
I'll go
once they get down there.
Yeah,
I'll go with
my failures. Yeah,
I'll go with my lucky score. The only one that score we won by. It's in my city. Maybe a little gree in that. I'll go Baltimore 31, San Francisco 17. The way we beat Indy. It's only been 2 Super Bowls ago. It's 47 and we won 44. So this is the 3rd, but still just 2 ago.
Yes,
feels like forever.
The 09 season,
right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you can't doubt them at this point. They've averaged 30 points in the postseason. They'll get it again. This defense is no better. Denver's defense was just as good this season, and they torched them in that place in 12-degree weather, and so I don't see much difference. You're not shocked either way with who wins this game, but
no, I won't be surprised if Baltimore wins at all. Yeah.
Well, no, either way, it's gonna matter. I'll go with a kid that maybe, craps his pants finally. I don't think he will. I think Kaepernick will do what he's done, but I'm counting on because they got in a hole against Green Bay too, and we're able to come out of it. But these 2 teams are just this Baltimore team's just in a different mindset. They believe that they're a team of destiny, and that might be true or not true, but they believe it.
Which is close enough.
It really is. It's kind of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll be very curious to see how Kaepernick plays, because I've kind of had the feeling thus far that
I believe he'll be fine.
He's like too inexperienced to get nervous.
Right, no,
but
that's what Flacco's living on. Like he doesn't. Yeah. I don't think he breathes in the moment. He's there. And he's like he believes in his ability, and he doesn't. Oh shit! I'm in the Super Bowl. He just doesn't even think on that plane. Which is, you're right. I think Kaepernick's exactly the same way.
Yeah.
They just don't. They won't soak it in, so it won't overcome them.
Yeah,
I agree.
And if that's what's going on, then more power to him. Still, the pressure of these 2 weeks, on all the media day and getting asked about every little thing. We've seen good quarterbacks really crap the bed in the Super Bowl before,
but not as much recently.
Not as much recently. That's true. And teams are probably doing a better job of preparing.
Right.
Guys,
that and they're just. I think they're just. And it's odd because I think the distractions of all that benefit them. Because there's so many media outlets, there's so many things you have to deal with. Back in the day, you sat around in your hotel room and just thought about the moment. And just, it frustrated, you didn't have any distractions.
Mm.
Where maybe those distractions are healthy, that you prepare at practice like normal, but then you have these moments where you're just sitting around thinking about the game, and maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. Maybe it's bad a lot more than it's good because you're just thinking, you get stressed. But now there's always an obligation.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something for them to do, somebody to talk to. And the leadership of some of these guys on Baltimore, that's another edge. These guys have been there. I mean, the 49ers had made the playoffs, this team, before last year. Baltimore made it every year.
Yeah.
I mean, they made it almost every year since Ray Lewis has been there. That's another huge edge we really didn't address. And it hadn't affected San Francisco yet, but it's a big party going on down there in New Orleans.
And that team has been winning a lot of games over the last.
He averages 11 wins a game as a coach, just over 11.
Because that has to put him right around Belichick, right? I mean, maybe a couple games behind.
Yeah,
something like that. The last 4 or 5
But he's been toe to toe with him in playoffs. I think he's 2-1 against him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
This is what we said when it started. It didn't look like that's where it was going to land, but we were half right.
Right.
About who was going to get to.
Right.
Yeah, Vegas owes me $140 now.
Right.
So I'll take it.
I didn't believe in the weapons that they added meshing with Alex Smith's ability.
But
he threw that curveball. He put Kaepernick in there, and he could use those weapons.
They were a great team before they put him in.
I'm not saying that, but they can utilize these weapons more. There's a bigger threat.
I remember talking about this before the season. They were 13-3 last year, and it felt like they every break, and the defense was just so damn good.
No, it was. They got 15 interceptions, 20, 30 interceptions. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Turnovers, like this has to bounce back the other way, you know, and it
did, but by way of their offense,
to some extent,
they were a top 5 offense this year.
Yeah,
I mean, and the number 1 offense in the playoffs thus far.
Right.
So Harbaugh was right. I mean, this guy, if he's not gonna, he's arm stronger. He has bigger ball. He'll throw downfield. Mm-hmm. If not, he'll run downfield. Alex Smith had that mobile ability, and I didn't want to give him credit for it either. I thought it would bite him, and this might be when it does.
Yeah.
But it was the move, and Alex Smith's a good dude, but it takes you 10 years to break through. There's a reason.
Yeah. And I think,
and he didn't really break through. He just managed.
Right. That they finally crafted the offense to, you know,
what Harbaugh wanted.
You mean like
leverage his strengths,
like good coaching, like crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
They've opened it up a lot more. That's just facts.
Wide receivers or a healthy Frank Gore.
Well, look at Crabtree's numbers alone. I mean, just this season, these 7 games with Smith and these 9 or so, or more than that, with
Kaepernick.
Yeah, it's ridiculously night and day, and that's a start. Moss's numbers have picked up. I mean, and not that that's seismic, but they picked up. He's been acknowledged.
Then again, or is that Jim Harbaugh making himself look smarter, making himself look better?
I don't understand your hatred for Jim Harbaugh. I kind of love the guy.
I don't understand this want to make myself look smarter. He wants to win a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
But when does he ever?
That's what they all want.
No, that's not what they all want.
Yes, it is.
Winning at all costs is something, but winning and making yourself look. Mike Martz wanted himself to look better than winning. That's a fact.
Well, yeah, I've never heard.
But if he would have won, you wouldn't have known it.
Well, I've never heard. Well, he did win a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator,
right?
Because he wanted Kurt Warner in the game. I mean, he looked smarter and won. I don't understand the comparison between Mike Martz and Jim Harbaugh. Well, I don't understand the dislike of Jim Harbaugh. I don't know. Maybe I don't see enough press conferences with Jim.
Are you threatened by smart people? If so, I'll leave.
I don't like. Nice. I don't like the media anoints, and then someone repeatedly seems like they're willing participants in acceptance of it and think they're smarter or bigger than the game. They're not.
Look, when you have
he just gets asked a question every press conference.
Yeah.
Yes, I still think we have a better chance to win with Colin Kaepernick. I mean, I don't.
If it hadn't worked, it was his ass. You know?
Right.
Yeah, right. Like they're going to fire him.
They're not going to fire him. They're going to rake him over the coals. That's
They'll have to deal with that. And the guy that competitive doesn't want to deal with that.
If you're somebody who cares about looking smart, then you're somebody who cares about what the public thinks, right? Then why would you make a decision that would get you burned by every media outlet
for an offseason that will last an eternity if that happens?
Yeah.
At this point,
if anything, Harbaugh's a gambler.
No, if anything, he went and handpicked this. No, Andrew Luck handpicked this guy, and he believed in him.
Oh, you mean?
No, Andrew Luck said Jim Harbaugh asked him at the quarterback. They went to some quarterback camp.
Oh, really?
And he said, "What guy stood out to you?" And he said Colin Kaepernick. So Harbaugh made it a point to look into this guy, and when they drafted him, was value even if Luck was wrong. Drafted him, molded him, met him the day he got picked, threw the football with him. Of course, they still stalked Peyton Manning for an offseason.
Right, that's the thing. They play
you can't use the word luck as a noun when you're talking about Harbaugh and quarterbacks in college when Andrew Luck played for Jim Harbaugh in college.
That's what I'm talking about. Andrew Luck handpicked him.
That's a proper noun.
Yes.
Then you switch back to Harbaugh picked Kaepernick.
No. Luck picked Kaepernick at this quarterback camp. Then Harbaugh draft picked, if you'd rather, Kaepernick. That's what I said. I mean, he went on Andrew Luck's opinion, and because at that point his rating, his value was off the charts when they drafted him. They drafted him below when they could have gotten him. So I take that either way. He should have been a higher pick. And
so Andrew Luck is the reason that Kaepernick is in the
Google it. Google it. No, Andrew Luck is the reason Kaepernick is a part of the reason Kaepernick is in San Francisco.
But Kaepernick had no choice over where he went.
Because Harbaugh drafted him. What are you trying to do?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
We missed you on the last 32 podcasts, Brad.
Not really.
Well, maybe we did. Whatever.
No.
Oh wait, did I?
Yeah. Really, who's on first? Circular.
Wink.
Well, but it's
Harbaugh's not the first coach to prefer a quarterback he drafted over someone he inherited.
They all do.
Yeah.
And the concussion was he bucked the system. Yes, injury can make you lose your job.
Yeah.
And when you start winning the way they won, It's justified. Did he want to look smart? No, he's just smart. It's not wanting to look smart. He was smart. Alex Smith limits your offense.
Yes, and when you've been around enough football, all these stats and size and everything, you got to have a quarterback that's willing to pull the damn
Yeah,
trigger.
we don't like Kaepernick either. I can't stand the guy.
All right,
I call him Gonzo.
I have a new prediction for you then. The parallels between here and Belichick. So I think Harbaugh is going to win 2, maybe 3 more Super Bowls. Everybody say he's the best, smartest person ever, and then he's going to ride Kaepernick all the way down, like Belichick is riding Brady all the way down.
This is him digging you. So he's just trying to. He just tries to insult all of us.
They started.
I'm not taking any offense.
And we give somebody lots of credit.
No. Right now they're winning because of Kaepernick. They didn't win those early Super Bowls because of Brady. They won them because of their defense. This defense is shit right now, which is why they're not winning this Super Bowl.
It's slightly elevated shit. Yeah.
It's the worst in the league right now, and the worst in the playoffs. It's around that. Their offense is the best.
Green Bay's defense was worse.
Well, it's one game, but
And the Colts defense wasn't that good.
no, I don't know. That was one
Maybe
game.
Belichick wanted to prove he was the smartest, best coach, so he was like, "Oh, he's a defensive guru. Now I'm going to win solely on offense. So I want to have this new weird two-headed."
I don't know what Belichick's doing on defense.
Some games I want to run. Some games I want to pass.
I do agree that Belichick's completely ignored his defensive.
Yeah, I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of like your idea of trading Brady for a D.
Right.
Flacco is going to go to Cleveland or Buffalo. Just to
Nobody goes to Cleveland.
Cleveland's got a good
Nobody.
authorized team.
No.
Yes, they do.
We've said that for 10 years.
Yeah, but now they have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. That's all it takes.
You only connect through Cleveland. You don't go to Cleveland.
Flacco to Buffalo or Cleveland.
No.
He's not
going to the division. He will not go to the division.
$20 million number.
Who got the Cleveland job?
Shinsky?
No, he had the job. Shermer did.
That's what it's
Oh,
Rob.
yeah. The local guy. Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna want a more. He doesn't want a guy who's gonna throw the ball downfield like that. He's gonna be. It's gonna be more conservative.
Yeah,
Approach
Greg
with
Little's
Richardson.
going to drop it.
Wait,
so.
With Richardson.
said how. Oh, come on.
It's gonna be a more conservative approach on offense, and they're gonna build behind. They have a decent defense in place.
If Flacco wanted to be part of the long-term quarterback fraternity, he owes it to all his people that are coming after him to say, you have to pay up for a quarterback. If not, they'll leave you, and your team is going to be destitute. He could help bankroll and pay every quarterback for the next 20 years.
Baltimore's going to still give him $18 million. Well, what's going to really, Luck, Wilson, RG3, they can't get pay raises for 2 more years. So they're just their teams better take advantage of this now. To spend that cap, those $18 million on other things.
Yes.
Because it's going to be locked up in them in 2 seasons. So, and all 3 of those teams are headed in the right direction. But they're also coached by imbeciles. So, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Oh, Matthew Stafford.
No, not. Indy's not. I don't mind Indy's coach. Just because he had cancer. I don't really know if he's a good coach or not. We're going to find that out.
He just doesn't like the Rat family.
Nobody likes the Shanahans. They're a disaster.
Rat boy.
Yeah. He's not a fan of the show. We're not a fan of him. Meaning it's
They did a good job with personnel, but
He didn't like the page?
no, it's not even about it.
I'm pretty sure he did not.
He's never
like
heard
the
of
page,
it.
but he has not clicked like.
No, but
You know who does like the page? The makers of Deer Antler Spray.
yes.
Yeah.
you got some of that with you, or like you got it in the car, like you keep some in your glove compartment. Like,
Is it really like a spray, or is it just like little bits of antler? So it's like bouncing off you.
Because the premise behind that is that's the quickest thing to regenerate.
Yes,
It's a deer antler, right?
Okay, all right.
So how do they extract that from a deer? Right, do you eat it?
crushed up and stuff.
use my own.
Do you just eat more venison that month?
Just put them in a wood
Is it
chipper
an
head
ant?
first. That'll do it. Yeah.
So now NBA, NFL players are going to like witch doctors to.
No, it's all it's an illegal. It's an illegal substance even in baseball. So it's illegal.
You said even in baseball. That's not right.
Well,
Athletes, they'll always try the latest, crazy treatment. In
I'm
part
heard
because
you're saying this will make me better.
yeah,
Oh, as soon as I get back on the field, I'll
Is that
start
a
getting my
Serrano
full game
reference?
check.
like Kobe, going to Germany to have his blood switched out.
well, he just became Pete Maravich, somebody who passes.
stem cells in your knees.
Right.
I think he's wearing a Steve Nash suit or something.
Wow.
So now he's 14 assists a game and it's working. he figured Dwight Howard's not going to change. They're not going to trade this worthless sack of 7 foot crap.
Listening to Mike D'Antoni.
Oh man!
And they know they're stuck with him too.
Well, now Steve Nash is worthless. What is Steve Nash going to do? Now Kobe's running the offense. He's going to miss clutch shots like he's done his whole career. I mean, is that what he does? That he goes back into that role like he had in Dallas?
I have zero arguments against this conversation.
I mean, I would trade Dwight Howard for whatever anybody would give me.
Biscuits, maybe.
No, not true. Supposedly he's at a very high value.
Somebody will. It's not as high as he had, but you'll get more than what you're going to get out of him.
Why don't you get Harden and all their draft pick stockpiles from the Rockets and just cut Kobe?
They're never going to cut Kobe. Kobe would kill a motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah, you can trade Kobe. We'll just trade Kobe.
Kobe would kill a motherfucker.
Trade Kobe too.
How much of that $25 million is guaranteed if they?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
What's the trade value for Kobe? Come on.
Rudy
less than $25 million.
But now he's like dishing, like they're winning. He changed his entire game overnight because he's that great. So they have to keep him.
In 4 games. Come on.
That's overnight though, and they've won all 4 convincingly. I mean, they're not going to win the West, their division, anything.
Or get in the playoffs.
Yeah. But I was stupid to think Steve Nash and Dwight Howard will fix all your woes.
In 2012.
That's
12,
right.
13.
Ever.
7 years ago, maybe. Dwight Howard he's limited. He's still getting the ball stripped from him in the paint. Like
he's a bitch too.
He's such a bitch.
He's an over the top bitch. You can't turn over the keys to your team to that guy.
No, and they know that.
And they haven't, and so he's.
That's why they're gonna. Seriously, Kobe's in the room. Kobe got rid of Shaq. He's gonna get rid of you.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Jesus, Dwight Howard's so delusional. His value overall, marketable.
He's
all of it.
He needs to go play with LeBron, so they had no pressure. They can, I'll defer to each other and all this kind of like nice.
I don't know. Dwight Howard thinks he's more than what he is. I don't know.
He wants to go play with LeBron.
I would just say they should go play with each other. 2 players that defer, don't have to carry the load, and don't want the pressure.
I don't think that's fair on LeBron. I think that first year he fucked around with that. Then that second year, he got to thinking about his legacy, and he got to looking at Chris Bosh and Wade, and he said, you know what?
I'm about to do this shit myself.
Get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, that used to be Wade's team.
Right.
After the 3 of them got together. It's not Wade's team anymore.
No.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Certain players won't. It's like Kevin Durant. Why do you not take over games? Because he's deferential to other people. You don't have the killer instinct that Jordan had.
If Howard had the mindset of Bosh, it would be the same fit, but a better defender, and they would just be unbeatable. But Howard wants to be, for some reason, thinks he's all world.
He wants to be a fake star without having to do all the stars.
Right. And that won't happen.
So he's a celebrity.
And he won't take the pay cut Bosh took.
He so screwed himself.
He really did. He's an idiot.
Because now if he doesn't like LA, he can't get the max contract deal unless he gets traded and the tax bracket that he used to enjoy. I mean, it's just terrible.
Everything he's forced has happened almost, and he's still not happy. And then he's faking injuries now. Like medical personnel are clearing the plate. Is like, no, man, I'm hurt.
That's a very contagious disease in the NBA.
But still,
go ask Eric Gordon, go ask Bynum.
Well, Eric Gordon's a bitch. We know that.
There's a ton of players in the NBA.
But it's a ton of the guys that aren't guys you want on your team. That's the problem. Eric Gordon is. You know how much better our record is if he isn't a punk bitch?
Oh, obviously.
Fuck that guy. I almost don't want him, but we're light years better.
Yeah, Cuban's gonna screw himself if he opens up to get Dwight Howard. I mean, the Lakers are probably on the phone with him now.
When is he?
That would be the best for Mike D'Antoni. So if they got Dirk and they got another old dude that can't run in the Mike D'Antoni offense, how great would that be?
Well, we lost by 5 and we gave up 83 fast break points.
I don't understand that.
D'Antoni would have a whip trying to get people to run.
Yeah, man. But that's the thing is, if D'Antoni would have been hired to start the season, he would have been fired. They can't fire 2 dudes in a month.
No.
You don't want to pay somebody.
No, you can't.
You can't be paying for 3 coaches.
You can't.
Not since Stein.
So, but had he... Right. You're fine.
Oh, shit.
I mean, really...
Wait, we got to still pay him?
Phil Jackson always worked. Seriously? Just do that again.
They're not going to. They just don't...
No, they can't. No, it's over now. They hired D'Antoni. You can't. Mike Smith should have never been hired, or whatever his name is. That should have never happened. That was stupid. the old Cavaliers coach.
Brown.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
he got hired, and LeBron. I could hear LeBron chuckling from here. I mean, he's worthless.
He was doing the Ace Ventura.
I mean,
You're like, move Miami to the West. Move Miami to the West.
I mean, seriously.
Move us to the West.
He would ruin a dream team. Like, this guy was... We're not... No offense. No, guard everybody. But no offense. Like, Mike Brown's a disaster. I mean, I remember him when he was on NBA Tonight and we were in college and he sucked. And whenever the ESPN show when he was an analyst, that got him a job. Like, really? But it's LeBron. It's fine. And that's another reason LeBron should get a little more praise than he already does, which is ridiculous. Mike Brown was a joke. I mean...
That team, talent-wise.
Oh, God. These guys were just... And he was like 12. And I don't even like the guy. I don't hate him. I'm not a fan.
Well, that's what they enjoy playing in college. There gets the finals.
Right. And then anything can happen.
You get a chance.
Yeah, anything can happen.
You can at least get to the second round with just like anybody on your team. If you have a team with two
They made it to the
guys,
third round when he was 19. Like, that's how bad it was.
and the East has been that way
Still.
since '98.
And then the Nets tried. At least PJ's got a job. And they... That's the...
Don't choke, man.
But the fact that what's-his-name kept getting hired is...
Who?
The little roach from...
Avery.
Yeah, Avery Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'll play basketball for me. We're going to praise the Lord and then go play basketball. From Baton Rouge. The dude, he's a great man. He can babysit my kids. Don't touch my basketball team. Don't even look at it. I don't. I mean...
You have too many people in the NBA that have checkbooks that aren't basketball people. So he's going to keep getting hired because his name is out there. He has rings, and you look at his regular season records, and some of those teams, they don't even want to
the Mavericks didn't need to be coached. I mean, at that point. When Rick Carlisle came in and it was an immediate upgrade. They advanced like 2 rounds and won a title immediately after Avery Johnson.
And everybody's giving that to Jason Kidd. And it's like, wow.
Because he taught them how to shove the women off before they called the cops?
The only bad part about Dallas
You got to
getting
hide
a
the home
championship,
before you throw them down the steps.
you know, because I love LeBron not winning after the decision, but man, really, Mark Cuban, it would be great if that guy cares so much, spends all his money, would never get one.
But I'd like that as an owner, though.
Yeah, but it would have been so fitting. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
Like Daniel Snyder, there's nothing you can do.
Or even the Yankees still won, but
Yeah, I mean, my dream is intelligent basketball people in power making decisions to make make all these teams better.
well, the Rockets have won 3 in a row. Fear the beard.
After losing 7 in a row?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't follow it.
Yeah, my dream is that.
I'll follow in the Western Conference, but the finals when the Thunder are challenged.
Whatever. But if you're not gonna have that, you gotta at least.
They own those old bastards.
Ridiculous.
They do.
Not the first 3 games of a series.
That was like 1 game. Maybe 2.
They took a 3-0 lead and they lost.
No, there was not a 3-0.
That hasn't happened.
San Fran went up 3-0 on.
It was a 2. It was a 2-0.
Was it even 2? I think it was 1 part of a game, and they just waxed the rest of the 3.
No, I thought it was 2. I thought
they beat them in 5.
Yeah, I thought it was a 1-0.
Well, it was
1.
They didn't lose a game in the playoffs until
Right. Neither
they
did the Thunder.
everybody.
Neither did the Thunder.
No, there wasn't 2 teams that swept each other.
The Thunder only had like 1 loss, but fumble. But yeah, damn Sanchez.
Clunk. Like, how do you not
He was down.
switch when you know he's freaking terrible and you're not winning?
Because your only option is to alternative.
Because you know as soon as Tebow wins, you're going to get heat that says, why did you not put him in before? Just like John Fox.
If you win with him, you're stuck with him.
Right.
If you accidentally
you go to the playoffs?
if you
go to the playoffs?
In what world?
And get wiped
Pop
out.
Warner?
They were
You
in
won't
the
make the
playoff
playoffs.
hunt. They were in the playoff hunt in like week 14 still.
Well,
With the worst quarterback in the league.
Blaine Gabbert is not the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Statistically, Mark Sanchez was the worst quarterback in the league.
Well, because he had no weapons.
Well, I mean,
He had .7 weapons, and
Gabbert wasn't
that
worse?
dude blew out his ass.
What about all those Arizona quarterbacks? They weren't all worse?
Oh, all 3 of them.
no, Sanchez, look at the stats.
Maybe per 400 attempts.
That's the
Put
best
them together,
part.
make a 300 quarterback,
Right.
a 3-headed quarterback.
Yeah, no,
They're still the worst in the league.
He had no weapon. His biggest weapon was a rookie. because Santonio went down early, Keller went down early,
and stayed down and came back, and then.
But he had an awesome running back.
Rudy Gay to the Raptors. Rudy Gay got traded to the Raptors.
He had a great what?
Rudy Gay got traded to the Raptors.
Why? I don't understand why Toronto wants Rudy Gay. I understand less why
they want to spend money.
I understand less why Memphis wants to get rid of him.
That's because they maxed him out and they knew they were wrong.
Yeah, that's right. They made a salary cap move last week too. Memphis did.
I know, but
they're
for the future. It's not for this year.
But they're good this year. They're a top 3 seed.
But no, this is fair. If you don't think you can beat Oklahoma City
ever,
no, not ever. If you have a max money contract coming to you next year because you get rid of Rudy Gay, come on.
I understand that, but Rudy Gay's a bigger part of your future. He's a dynamic player.
3-team trade.
Bell Devs, get in there.
With the Rockets. What did the Hornets get? The Pelicans.
We don't have any.
Bird feed?
Let's see, what's the third?
We don't have any.
Oh, the Pistons is the third team.
God,
yeah. They still have a team.
So the Grizzlies...
They moved back to Fort Wayne.
The Grizzlies get Tayshaun Prince.
No.
Austin Day.
Austin Day. I feel like I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Arkansas?
Oh, he's a Gonzaga guy.
Austin
Day played for Gonzaga. Who got him?
Todd Day?
Todd Day was the Arkansas.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
40 years ago.
Yeah.
I think Austin Day is Gonzaga.
Prince was still in the league?
It's like his
He really is. Well, he got traded?
Who?
Tayshaun Prince got traded?
Yeah, they finally did that.
To where?
So, let's
At least
see.
hope
And
it's
to
a
match the salary of
contender.
Gay. He's got to be going to
Memphis, that would be awesome. No, that's perfect. He could play like Gay for a
It's
year.
gonna be the Grizz. They ended up with Tayshaun.
That's a great move.
It's salary. He had to go there to balance it out.
That's a great move.
Yeah, he's one of those veterans who's willing to play for.
No, he's one of those veterans that has a lot of money on his contract.
But who will play as good as Gay is right now, especially in the postseason.
So Toronto knows that they can't attract any free agents anyway, so they might as well take on a max player guy, because what the hell?
All right, here you go.
Because they have to spend money, right? Don't you have to?
Well,
There's a minimum.
Well, they found out that Kyle Lowry is hurt for like a month.
Well, he's another one of those.
2.5.
He's another one of those Eric Gordon bitches. Like if he's not happy, he ain't playing.
Well, Lowry's a point guard, though.
He is, but he's good when he cares.
And when he plays,
Right?
And, like he doesn't look like he's ever.
Well, but then he gains 30 pounds in like a day. If he's hurt, he puts on 30 pounds. Like, what are you just sitting back there eating ribs? Like what?
Just give me one
Like
rib.
I thought you had a hurt arm.
Right. At least somebody has to feed you. Be like, no, don't eat that.
Get that barbecue sauce out of the oven.
No, that's at least Tayshaun. That's tit for tat for a half season.
Yeah.
But Gay's got to. Did he play Connecticut? Where did he play at college?
I'll wrap these up.
It's over. It doesn't matter.
He's probably going to cut this off.
It doesn't matter.
Like all of this off.
It's fitting though that you have the last all football podcast became basketball.
No, I'm really not.
No, let's have the same conversation in the next place.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, I'm fine.
Because we can kind of hit reverse.
Yeah. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Music ending.
Yeah. I mean,